What's going on, everybody? We are back in the shop and printing, and I just wanted to go over this while we had just swapped out some clean pallet tape. That way I could show you guys how we have our pre-registration unit set up. This is something I definitely think every shop should look into getting, regardless of your manufacturer. They should have an option for you to have some type of registration system that will help you get your jobs on press faster. And so with the Roq, we have the PRU, and what that involves is a pallet that we have. It's got 3 points on it. We load our screens in it and it locks into place. Before we get the screen onto the press, we burn it over on the PRU, which locks into place, and I'll show you that in a second. But here's the first step of how we get our board set up and then match that up with our PRU so that we have a fluid process between the two. So the first step for us is we're doing this with clean pallet tape. Once you get everything locked in, we have no need to draw any registration marks or anything on our pallet. But what we did to make sure that we got the absolute center, we got 2 of these little T-square things. I believe these were like $4 or something at Walmart. What you do is you'll run 2 of them together. That way you make sure you have it pressed up, because you can divide, it's a 16-inch pallet, so you can divide that in half. But because we have the beveled edge on the sides here, I like to just use 2 of them. You lock them in place until they line up, and then that is where our center line will go down the middle of the pallet. You can see the dots are actually the center part. The other one, you can check to see that that is still square. Take your single one, drop it down, and you can follow those right down the middle. And now the reason we do this, I've seen some videos where they tell you to load up your screen onto the PRU first and find the center of the screen. We do this to make sure, because what we're doing, all of this is based off our registration board, so I will show you that. We want to make sure that we are actually printing on the center of the board, regardless if it's the exact center of the screen. So we'll take this off, and we have also gone ahead and done our upgrade on here, where we have removed the old hardware, put in the new into the new holes, and now there is no binding on this, and it's absolutely perfect. So definitely recommend that if you haven't done so already. We were able to do the job ourselves, so that is a huge upgrade for us to no longer fight with the pallet arms. That's awesome. This is our PRU board, and as you can see, there are 3 spots on here that is going to match up with the 3 points on our PRU. So we'll go ahead and get this loaded. This board is actually off an XL press, and same with the PRU that we have. So you can get a smaller board. We wanted to use the board that is adjustable, but if you did decide to buy the one that is non-adjustable, this is it. It's a lot smaller, easier to handle, but we prefer to use this one because these brackets are the ones that matched up with our PRU. And I know over the years they've changed back and forth between if the bump stops are on the left or right side. So this was actually on the opposite side. We did remove these and flip the board around, re-drill one of the holes, and went from there. So now we are set up to match this board, which came with our PRU. Alright, so here is the PRU board installed, and it's up to you where you want to have it land. We like to go in the first section all the way back. That way we know we're loading it in that same spot every time, so we don't have to adjust it forward or back. You just hit either the back of that or the back of the second one. So we'll go ahead and release this and send the registration board under. We can lock that in place. All right, so now that that's in place, what I like to do first is, while the head is up, to avoid hitting anything, I lower the head this way, and that way when I put the screen in, the head is already down, and then all I'm doing is manually lifting this, and lowering it slowly to avoid hitting any of these 3 contact points. The screen in, I don't have the clamps locked or anything on it. I know that it's set in enough to be away from that. All right, so now that it is in place, you are going to make sure that you have it backed up against the back one and these 2 side ones. Now what I like to do is I always just press right on this corner, and the thing is you're gonna wanna do this evenly for all your screens and kind of make it a routine, so whoever's doing the setups, like, just keep it consistent. And we can lock both into place, and then you can see back there, try to keep it half on, half off. Then you are able to raise your screen, release it, and take the board out from underneath. All right, so with our original board back on, which is one of the other benefits of these, is we don't move these boards anymore. Like, aside from taking this on and off, all our art adjustments are done on the computer, so we never have to move our pallets pretty much for anything. So we will swing this underneath, get this locked into place, and now lower the head. And now right here we have our center line and our screen. And what this allows us to do, as you can see in here, is mark the center line where it falls on this screen. So give me 1 second, I'll grab a Sharpie. All right, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I'm just gonna mark right there. I'll do another one there. And then one in the middle. All right, so now we have those. We're gonna pull the PRU board back underneath real quick, and I'll show you one other spot to mark. All right, so here's the other 3 spots that you're gonna mark. You wanna take your Sharpie, let's see if I can do this. And you're gonna trace the area where these are on your screen, and you'll do that in all 3 spots. All right, so after that, you will release your screen. Go ahead and we will bring this over to our PRU. And what we've done with ours, I've seen them set up for people multiple directions, so that kind of gets confusing. We have the locking area furthest from us. So what we actually did was we removed these, flipped them to the other side, and then took these 2, swapped them, and then we also swapped these inside the box just so it went left to right. I don't know, it was easier for us that way. The important things you want to look at on this are going to be these dials. This is so that when you set your screen on here, your pressure is on these, and then this is not pushing up against the mesh or anything. So you have one here, and then these 2 slide as well. You want to dial those up. You can see they go up and then there. The reason we moved the lights, or at least have ours set up with the lights here, is because these dials, this first one you set as your base point, your top line, and so we keep this, I believe it's like 6 inches down, but you can set it up any way that you want with your art, but always leave this one locked. This one you can move up and down for your chest, full back, all of that. And what's really nice is, say your on press screen breaks, or you need to do a color change or something else, or something didn't wash out the right way, you can reburn just one color, line the top one up because that's always been in the same place, lock this into place, make another screen quick, and then you are set. So back to why we drew the lines are because this point, this one, and this one need to now match these 3 spots on the frame. So let me get around here. You can see once this is in place, you have that meeting point, that one, and then this on this side, we have basically centered it so that that will be the contact point. And the reason this is important is because regardless if the screen frame itself was actually perfectly flat or straight on the side, your contact points here are all going to be the same when they get to the other side. So as long as you're on the 3 same spots, it's going to be in the same place. And now in theory, yes, these lines should line up directly in the center of this screen. But sometimes the way a pallet board locks, and it might shift when it locks into place a hair, that's why we make sure we do our line first. So I'll go ahead and lock these in place. I like to do the corner one first, which is why I moved that knob to there, and then the top one. So now we can see that that is lined up with the center. And then what we should be able to do is slide this one down, and then it should also pass through. And so you can see our line wasn't exactly perfect with that, but you can see they're consistently straight. So we'd probably move that just a hair, and that can be done by loosening and moving it forward. But you can see on the top one as well, our line is completely solid just off of that, and that's kind of how we ended up marking it. So that way you get your crosshairs. Always leave this one locked. Make sure your air is good. I like to lock the corner first, and then you're always checking your contact points. So yeah, this board has been an absolute game changer for us, along with the PRU. We wanted to in the beginning try to make our own thing, figure out a way to make it work. The second we bought this and got it in service, it was an absolute game changer. And it honestly, if I would have had this 2 years ago, I would probably have another press, not that one, but another one, an auto sitting there, because our turn times as far as being able to get a job set up, in the door and out, I feel would have been so much faster. Like, I remember the days I would spend an hour setting up a 4-color job just trying to figure out like the little hair left and right. Like this, I'm getting everything on there, getting it lined up fast, and then we're just making little micro adjustments. And now obviously the only thing better than this would be direct to screen, but I think this covers just about every job that we do, and it works amazing. And I mean, I use it for all the 1-color stuff. Like, you're just not thinking about it when you're just tossing stuff on. I can have new people do it with little to no press experience. They're able to set up 3 and 4 color jobs like it's nothing. And so for us, this has been huge. I know other companies like M&R and some of the other auto companies have systems, and I highly recommend, even if you're not using Roq, whoever you're using, reach out to them. They have probably designed something that works really well, and it'll save you a ton of time, and in return make you a lot of money off of your investment. And that way you're able to put new people into these positions when it's just not yourself setting all of this up. So definitely take the time to research about what it is that your press needs and look into it, because it was a huge advantage for us, and we are so happy we did it. I think every press should be sold with one, because of how important it is. Even with those 1 and 2 color jobs, it just is hands-free. Keep everything locked in, get a system down, and you're good to go. So definitely take a look at it. Thanks again for checking in, and we'll see you guys next time.